What's up?
What's up?
I am
How are
doing
you?
good. It's another day in paradise.
How's your day been?
Busy. One after another. Over here
Yeah.
doing the important work. Yeah. I need to gotta get you one of these shirts, dude. Yeah.
Is it on your Etsy?
I don't know what kind of
I'll
shirts
order
you
one
like.
tonight.
There's like this is more of like a soft material, but there's also like the oversized
Yeah.
heavy cotton if you like stuff like that too.
I'll get that and I'll
Yeah.
get one of
I
Kurt's
think a
shirts.
few I think probably sold three or four of those so far. So yeah,
For a good cause.
it's a good idea. Okay, so let's see. We're getting some people jumping on here. Let me rotate this a little bit. There we go. So thanks everyone for joining in on today's live. So this was kind of a going to be something a little bit different. We want to do a bit of an introduction today. So if you guys haven't noticed in the last day or two with our social medias that Trey has officially joined Integrated Muscle and Health as a coach. So we want to welcome him and do a little bit of background so you guys can get to know him a little bit, understand where he came from, how we got here, how Trey and I know each other, and yeah. So we're doing a we're gonna start there. So first and foremost, can you give us, for the people that don't know you, maybe that are on my social medias that haven't followed you yet, can they give a background on how you actually got into coaching specifically? But you can take us back because I know that you do have bodybuilding experience and
Yeah.
competing experience. So give us some background on that.
So it started with I'd worked with a strength coach for my senior year of wrestling, and Chris Edmonds, that's who runs Mountain Dog training now. Um, he was training me. He was early on in his coaching career, and when I was in between, like deciding, hey, do I want to wrestle in college? Do I want to take scholarships? Do I want to do something else with my life or work for my dad? I'd really enjoyed like the personal training and the online coaching stuff that I had seen from Chris from working with him, and had learned a lot. And I had already started helping some guys and people I went to school with nutrition and stuff when I was 17. That when it came time to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, I was like, I wouldn't mind helping people with this. Like it really helped me. It really changed my life. It really changed for how I probably would have ended up like the rest of my family, very sick or obese or inflamed or anything like that. So that's where it started. And again, I started coaching. I think my first client was a wrestler when I was 17, but then the first paying client, I was 18. Like I was a freshman in college. And how I got into that, it was honestly being associated with the right people. I was associated with Chris. He would send me people, and that's how I got it. And then other part was I was bodybuilding. Like when I gave up wrestling, I was like, well, I have to have some competitive to replace this. I am not the person that just works out for the heck of it. I was always the person that was very goal oriented at that time. So bodybuilding is what I chose. And so by being in the gym, by doing bodybuilding, it really helped me get people along the way. And that's just where it all started. I loved it from the get-go. I really was always anti-Western medicine with everything. And I saw just how much nutrition alone or lifestyle habits really played a role in how I felt, impacted how I performed in wrestling my senior year. I really saw the benefits of all of it. I was like, wow, this would really be fun to help other people with this, because I see where looking back at past years with wrestling that if I would have done this
Sure.
the whole time, I would have done
Right.
so much better. And I was like, I really want to be able to have that type of impact on it, because it was a big impact on me. It did morph a lot of good habits and bad habits just from bodybuilding, but Yeah, that's where I started with it all. It was just essentially I had a strength coach who was a nutritionist online. I loved what he was doing for me. I was like, wow, this would really be fun to actually help people. You know me, I'm a caring person. I probably overly care about everyone. That was my way. And the other thing was I really wanted to create something on my own. Like I really wanted to do something on my own versus going into the family business. It was a big deal to me to not just follow in the footsteps of my father and just run the family business. I really wanted to go on my own and figure out something on
Yeah.
my own
Yeah.
path.
And I mean, your beginnings are pretty similar to mine. With we had a lot of similarities there for sure. And I know that I know that over time there had been like some ups and downs in coaching with some other jobs involved and supplementary income and things like that. Trey and I actually officially met in person for the first time here in Ohio because he had come up for a seminar at the old gym that I owned, and then ended up working at the gym for a little while. But everything really kind of came full circle more more recently when we started having discussions about coaching full time because it was something you're really passionate about. Just hadn't quite gotten over that hump to getting into the full time thing. And of course, with full time coaching, you're losing some of that safety net that you have with that 9 to 5 job. Even if you don't like that 9 to 5 job, you do have that continuous hours and continuous safety net. So, we had a discussion, and these discussions really started a while ago, probably, over a year ago for sure. We had really, really started talking about it, and then finally took that plunge because you were working at Rogue, and we're like, okay, this is what we're going to do, and did it. So how many, I would say that and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, your client load probably went up at least close to tenfold.
Yeah, because I was when we had talked so many times about it, I was only taking on 8 to 10 people. I could never go over that because I was working so much at Road. It was impossible. It was a weekend job for me, plus working overtime there and trying to be married. So 8 to 10, and then it's stayed about 40 to
Right.
50 over this last month. And that's considering some people
Sure.
dropping off and some stuff like that. People have other endeavors they want to do, but I mean that's a
Right.
300% growth, give or take, and it didn't happen overnight. And there wasn't really anything different. Like a lot of people that might not know me, I've been around the block. I've been doing it a while. I just got involved in other things. I never made it my prime focus. And when we had built the house and I had built the gym out, I was like, I always joked with Val, like, hey, I'm going to leave my job at the end of the year. Just as a joke. I always just told people that's what my goal was. And I saw just things slowly improve, get in-person clients. And then I was like, wow, like, I think I can do this. But I didn't just go quit my job. I talked to you. I talked to Val. I talked to my father-in-law and my dad. Kenneth, me and Kenneth spent hours talking about it. And I made sure before I left that I had a safety net. Like I made sure that we had well over a year's worth
Right.
of mortgage saved before I left, because most people don't know this. Right when things happened in 2020, I had just finished bodybuilding. I did the Arnold Amateur and absolutely bombed it. My health was at its ultimate worst. I had jaundice, skin and eyes. I was in liver failure and having some gallbladder issues. And at that time, I was at my lowest point. And at the time when me and my now wife signed our new lease, I don't know how we got in the first place. We weren't going to be able to make those payments. We were going to be homeless. And so coming from someone that was like that at one point, it was a huge fear to leave that security, that nice income where I just have to show up and I don't have to worry about anything. But I also knew I was at a point that either I coach and train, or I work at Rogue. There's got to be one or the other, because in the middle of that is my wife, who that's the most important thing. And I can't do all three. Something had to be given. And so when we decided that, it was a huge risk, but I made sure to have all of my eggs in a row, have it perfectly set. And all that changed is I just put a focus on helping people.
Right.
That's all that had literally changed in general. But yeah, that was a huge, you and I talked about it numerous times, and we went back and forth with it. It's panned out, and I wish I could say, hey, do this business tip and this trick, and I've got 20 spots available, but that's not what happened. I just took care of my people, and I let them do the work for me. It was all true organic growth. And then obviously, like, you've referred people to me over the years. So like, just treating people good. Like, I firmly do believe, like, this isn't meant for business, but I do firmly believe the key to success, you have to treat everybody right. Ethics, integrity and authenticity are the most important things in anything. And that's literally all that had changed, while pouring my heart into this and 24/7 versus it was always kind of a side gig. Like, hey, yeah, I'll message you. Yeah, we'll do updates and stuff. But I wasn't hustling like I was trying to do.
Yeah, there was a lot of growing pains, a lot of things that go into that. I think there's a lot of people that do probably coach at that capacity casually. They, it's some supplemental income. But people that are actually really going all in and trying to build something can appreciate what kind of headaches and uncertainties and all these things that really go into building something like that. And throughout that process, we had discussions about what was going on with me and with integrated muscle and health and all that. And that I was like, I essentially said, hey, I am probably going to want to bring you on at some point. And that was a discussion that we had. Wasn't sure when. It was kind of put that out in the air, maybe 4 to 6 months ago. And we touched on it a couple times throughout. And more recently, obviously solidified that, because really what had drawn me in, obviously, is I basically know everything about your background down to the nth degree of education. So I know everything. I know exactly what you know. I know exactly who you are as a person. And so ultimately that is what was a deciding factor for me. And then also within the team, something that I really want to, I think has already been accomplished, but I want to continue to facilitate, is within integrated muscle and health. I would really like to have a company that, regardless of what kind of client we have inquiring, we can service you. So, we do everything. I mean, that's really the bottom line. The name of the business really kind of says it all. It's integrated muscle and health. We prep on all levels. We do functional health. We do general population. Like we really encompass everything that is fitness, competition, and health. And you have the ability to bridge the gap in a lot of those areas. And so a lot of the referrals and stuff that I was needing help with were either in somewhat in the functional space and maybe some body composition, and there was a lot of in between, because there are definitely teams out there that do have a broad variety of services that can service all these people. There are teams that are more niche. They're really niche down to certain things, but I would really like to always be able to facilitate any client inquiry that comes in. And so you've been a great addition to the team. And between myself, you, Matt, and whoever may end up whoever else may end up on the team at some point. We are a one-stop shop for everything at this point. Yeah.
100%.
And I think above all else, we really stand for character and stand for ethics and stand for, just simply treating people right and doing the right things. And sometimes those are hard discussions. There's a lot of, like you and I, man, and even Matt this week, we had a good chat about that, about some of those hard conversations and coaching people. And sometimes in coaching, it's difficult to be personable to people and to sympathize or empathize with them, but also be an authority figure at the same time. That is a difficult balance for some people because, a lot of times newer coaches will come in and they just want to be everyone's friend, and that's cool. And that's great when you have 5 clients or you have 10 clients, but later you do have to be more of an authority figure when your client load starts to grow. But at the same time, you can't lose that human element of coaching throughout that process. So not only providing the service, but really being able to facilitate that human element that is coaching, because that's such a huge part of coaching. We know protocols, we can do them. We know any lab work you throw in front of us, we can do it. That's not so much the issue, is that in the coaching space, a lot of what lacks is the ability to actually coach a human being. And that's really what we're striving to perfect as best we can.
Yeah, we're basically trying to prevent all the cookie cutter stuff. Like, here's your plan. And it's not the same for everyone. Like, I think that, like, our ethics and integrity, I feel, is, like, very different than most people. You and I have had those conversations. I don't want to just take somebody's money for the heck of it. If you're not going to put in the effort, or if you're struggling and I just don't want to take your money. That's not the right thing to do. So there are a lot of hard conversations we have to have. And then it is hard to balance. Hey, I'm personal. I'm also your coach. I dealt with it early on. I used to give everybody my phone number. And it was a huge struggle because you'd have almost 40 people texting you all day long and you can't get any work done. So that's a hard balance to figure out. But I think all 3 of us do a good job of that. I think we also do a good job of just being honest and, like, being realistic of what people are wanting. Like, if someone comes to us and wants to be a pro bodybuilder, we'll know real quick if that's going to happen soon.
Right.
You will know. But I know that all 3 of us, we're not going to be like, cool, you want to be a pro? Cool, here's your PD protocol. Let's go balls to the wall, do all this stuff. And they probably don't even have the potential in the first place. Versus, I think we're always going to be authentic and honest. Like, hey, I know your goal is X. Let's find something that's a little bit better for you. That we talked about in our burnout live the other week too, that I think we handle all that stuff. And I really do think, like, as a team, we do have a really good mix of everything, where I don't foresee anything coming through that we can't handle. And if there is something that any of us struggle with, the good thing is all of us have different experiences. Matt has some stuff that maybe you or I haven't seen. You obviously have seen more than probably me or Matt. When we were talking, all 3 of us were talking the other day through chat, obviously I gave some input that maybe Matt didn't think about. That I really think it's a good dynamic, and I think that is missing with a lot of these teams. I don't think the dynamic with these teams are as good as, like, people realize. Is you're kind of just coaches, but you're not actually working to help. Like, you and I have talked about this back in December when we first had this conversation, was our goal is just to, like, suffocate everybody with positivity. That's a huge deal right now because everyone's so negative and everybody's money hungry, which obviously that matters, but we just want to suffocate everybody with positivity and really help people. Like, that's the big deal. And if that means we have to resort to one another, we will do that. Or if that means you have to refer maybe maybe I start working with someone, I have to say, hey, maybe Matt would be a better person for you because I fixed whatever you wanted, but you're wanting more of this realm for bodybuilding, and maybe you're a better fit with him, and maybe I can go talk to Matt and we can figure it out. That I really do think this is more of like an actual team feel versus Austin here, coach, coming down the ladder. And I really think that you're working hard to make that happen, and
Yeah.
it's definitely happening.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why the whole coach hiring process took me so long, because I mean, I could have hired 5 coaches, several years ago. It's just that there's a few really big criteria that have to be met. It's not that I'm completely against having a newer coach with less experience and building that up, but really what my ideal situation for intaking a new coach would be having someone that has the experience and reputation to where we can continue to work on a level where everyone's close enough that we can continue to facilitate that growth, and we're not really dragging any anchors, right? We don't have any anchors that we're dragging around and trying to prop up. So, that's why, like yourself, you have experience. And plus just us alone, on some capacity, we've worked together on some capacity for probably 6 or 7 years now. So there's tons of application that's gone into that. Matt has probably over 15 years or more of bodybuilding experience, right? So maybe probably closer to 20 even. So, there's we're really trying to create, like you said, that team dynamic where everyone is going to be a top performer and everyone's going to be a top contributor, and we can collaborate and we can continue to grow that way. So hopefully this is this will definitely take a little bit of strain off of me in the next couple months. This process has been kind of difficult so far, because again, I probably could have just went on Facebook and Instagram and just said, hey, we're hiring, and would have gotten however many inquiries, but that's not what I wanted to do. So everyone is 100% hand selected, so.
Yeah, I think other people might not realize, like, our history goes very long. Like, how it all started was I reached out to help with endometriosis for a client. I had no clue what the hell I was doing, and just shot you a message. And that was always a good thing about always working with you, is you're always approachable. Like, you're welcoming me to your house to stay for the seminar. You offered me a job at G-Force when maybe things weren't ideal there, even though I didn't want to hear at that time. You were being a genuine person, like, hey, I just want you to know this, and just so you're prepared. And the cool thing has been, like, as I've grown, I've been able to see you grow, and I've kind of been able to learn along the way, because in some shape or form, it's right at 7 years, I think. 7 years, that I've been able to pick up a lot of your stuff from you. And really, you are what's morphed me. And, like, I really think it's going to turn into a good thing. I really think we're going to be able to help some people. And I really think, like, you're making the right decisions in terms of, like, kind of vetting coaches. Like, you don't want any just random person to come on the team. It's good morals. Like, anyone that knows you knows your morals and your ethics are specific. You're one of the few good guys in the industry, and I can only name maybe a small handful of others, and one of them isn't even alive anymore. So, like, that's the thing, is, like, anyone that knows you, like, knows, like, that, hey, like, you're only going to associate with good, genuine people, and it's for a better cause. And I'm glad to be aboard and glad to be able to help any way I can.
Well, we greatly appreciate having you. It's going to be a huge asset to the team. We're not going to bore you guys to death too much today. We just wanted to come on and talk about our history a little bit and background and what direction we're headed in. We have some ideas for some different collaborative stuff we can do. My new barn gym will hopefully be done before too long, so we have some ideas with that. And Trey and I just happen to live close together, which in the online space is not common a lot of the time since everyone's so spread out. So especially not common for me considering where I live. Nobody else lives by me. So which is kind of why I live here. But that's a different story. So thanks everyone for joining on today. I will repost this, make sure we get it shared up on your page and stuff so everyone can check it out. Please give Trey a follow. He'll be tagged in here. Check out his content, check out his stuff. If you have any questions, ask any questions. On my YouTube channel, we have done several lives. Go on there, check those out. Any of the clips we posted, tons of great information. And thanks everyone for the support always. All right, man. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. I'll see you.